YouTubers, welcome to the TainoXtreme YouTube channel. Today I'm bringing you an MRE Cozy. Look, this is it. It is made in the same shape as an envelope. I took an envelope as the main model for doing this because it was so convenient. MREs are nothing but with a similar shape as a pouch. You know how envelopes are, closed in 1, 2, 3 sides and open in one side, providing a compartment, and then it has a flap that goes over like that, and usually you can close it by putting some saliva with your tongue there and then mail whatever, send it in the mail. It has the same shape. Look at this. The MRE goes in there. The way I made it almost the same exactly size of this MRE pouch. I try to use one of the bigger MREs pouches that I could find. You know, they come in various sizes. This is one of the leftover MREs from my kids' last backpacking trip. So I figured if I use it with one of the bigger sizes, then the smaller sizes of MREs pouches are going to fit inside with no problem. But if it's bigger, and I use this with one of these smaller sizes pouches, then I was going to have a hard time trying to put a bigger pouch inside. So I decided to use that side. Now, look at this. If you notice, it's almost exactly the same dimension. It has almost the same dimensions of it. Not quite the same dimensions because it wouldn't fit inside otherwise. And the reason is this is not just flat. It has some volume. There is some volume into it. So I made it a little bigger, just a little bigger, so that I can put it inside. Sometimes it gives me a hard time trying to put it inside. So what I do is I fold here a little bit. I squeeze it like that a little. Then I put it once inside, I put it flat, open like that again. And just push it in. Doesn't want to cooperate. Wait a minute. I didn't have. Let me try it again. I'm going to squeeze it. I'm going to put it in. Okay, there it is. Once I have it inside, then I make sure that it goes flat, the shape open. I got its original shape, and it's there. So then what you got to do, then is just use it. If you notice here, this distance from here to here reaches just till where the ziplock seam of the MRE pouch is, but the remainder of it remains exposed. And the reason is because this is the part that you rip off and dispose of it, so I didn't have to be covered. So what you do is, it'll look something like that. Once you dispose of that chunk, and it looks like this, and you can barely see it. So you say when it has water, it's going to become filled like that somewhat, but it still remain in there. So all you got to do is fold this flap, hold it in your hand, wait 10 minutes as the instruction says. And some MREs, the instruction says to wait 8 minutes. It depends on the name brand or the bill there is in there. It's usually 10 minutes. And then you open it and eat it. So I'm going to explain you the way I made it. That was about the shape and model that I used to make it. But the way I made it is I used a chunk of this. Let me show you what this was. This was this windshield sun reflector from the $1 store for cars. This thing has many uses. I've used this same material for 2 or 3 of my backpacking projects. And this is the one that I cut a chunk of to make this pouch. You see, it doesn't have here this fabric reinforcement here is because I cut a portion just to make that MRE Cozy. And then I just put it in the middle, and then what I did was to place it like this in the middle. Place it like that. Put the Cozy in the MRE pouch, like perhaps in one of the edges, like right there, close to the edge. And then I folded this like that, and this side like that, and I sort of cut the excess of it and put it right there in the middle, and I filled for the edge on top of the MRE here, and I cut it like 5 or 6 inches further apart from that edge, and that's the way I made it. I cut it out. Once I had it cut out, all I did was to see it overlaps a little bit in here. I sealed this part here with duct tape, and then this portion here I fold it like that, overlap it and put some duct tape and cut the excess of it around here just to end up with one side only, not like this that has one and two sides. This is double-sided. Now in here, this is the main compartment of it, but if you notice here, it's overlapped, and this here just this much. So inside I put some aluminum tape in there. I could have used duct tape, but I was thinking, you know, the temperature here is going to make the duct tape come undone, get out of there. You know, it's going to be a mess. And but I think I was wrong. So this is kind of messy here. So I highly, if you're going to make this break, I highly advise you not to use aluminum tape. Just use duct tape all the way around. And you can use, and you don't have to overlap it in here like I did. You can do it out here in this edge like I did here. So another thing that I wanted to mention about this is why I put the shiny part facing outside rather than facing inside. In theory, this shiny part could be more helpful if I used it inside and put the white side outside, because then the physics, the phenomenon of physics that makes the temperature bounce out of this shiny part would have bounced the heat from the cozy, from the MRE that was trying to escape, bounce back to the MRE and make it stay warmer longer. But then on the other hand, I was thinking, well, this was made to be put in the windshield of the sun of the car to reflect the sun heat back out. So my thinking was, if I put it facing outside, the MRE is going to be inside here, and then the cold temperature is going to try to penetrate here, is going to be bounced out, and this, because this is a thin layer of foam, it was going to keep the heat to remain inside here. That was my thinking. So that's what I did, and to my surprise, it worked real fine. I already tested it. I took it to one of my backpacking trips. It was not so cold when I took it and put it to the test. It was around the 60s, low 60s, so it was not that cold. But I was with a friend there, and he brought an MREs also. So at the time that we were going to, preparing our meals, we were waiting the mandatory 10 minutes or the advised 10 minutes to wait for this not this, but for the MRE to be eaten. And when he opened his, it was tolerable. He was able to eat immediately, but mine was so hot that I could not resist it. I was burning my mouth, so actually I had to keep this open like that, and I was blowing it because it was so hot. So that tells you how well this worked. So my thinking is, I'm going to tell you what my thinking is after I tell you this. I'm going to explain you now the reason why I made this, and it's kind of pretty much self-explanatory, to keep it warmer longer. But it doesn't have to be necessarily when you go out there backpacking and the temperatures are not so low that it's going to make your MRE go cold fast. I've been out there in 30 degrees and mid-30s, mid-30s, and it's alright. And I've been a little below to 30 degrees, and it's been alright. And I was able to eat it. By the end, I was finishing eating my MRE. It was not so cold that I could say, oh, it's nasty, but there was one time that I went to Grandfather Mountain. I took one of the most difficult hikes over there. I don't remember the name of it, but I remember that the wind was blowing like 79 miles an hour, and it was snowing like crazy. It was, I mean, the wind was so hard that it was actually snowing sideways like that. And we had to take cover under a tarp that we put slanted sideways next to a big rock that we found and used it as a wall. And the temperature dropped down to minus 10 degrees. I couldn't believe it. We couldn't even stand, take our hands, the glove off our hands to do something more than 20 seconds without our fingers feeling hurting, going numbed, being affected by the cold so bad. And the MRE, at the time that we were preparing this for eating, we had the hardest time trying to make our stoves to work properly, to heat up water. When the water was like halfway decent warm, we put the water inside of the pouch, and it was getting cold so rapidly that by the time that I was eating the whole thing, I was just trying to swallow the whole thing. It was crunchy, like it was never, you know, we didn't put any water in there at all. I mean, it felt like I was eating, you know, when you eat cereal and milk, just like that, but a lot harder, a lot harder. Anyway, and then after we came out of the mountain with that experience, I said I have to come up with some kind of idea to overcome this challenge, and that's why I thought about making this. If you go out there, probably, I don't know if REI and stores like that have already a cozy commercially made for this purpose, but I know that it's sold out there somewhere. If you go to the internet, you'll probably find something, because I heard somebody in one of them backpacking accessories, that people DIY'd for this purpose. It was commercially sold somewhere. He bought it, and he says it was made out of, outside it was made out of ripstop nylon or something like that, and inside I don't know, probably had something like this, some kind of a material like this. But this is a $1 kind of thing that you can get from the $1 store. You know how it is in America. $1 store is everywhere, so it's very available, although you have to wait until the summertime to purchase it, because this is a seasonal kind of thing. You're not going to find it nowadays in the winter time, in the colder months of the year. In the $1 store, you will be very lucky if you find one. But you can wait until the summertime and get yourself like 2 or 3 or 4. I bought 20 of this and made some projects with it, because it is so versatile to be used for many things that you can refer to my videos and watch some of them. So I bought some of them just to keep them stored and use it as I need it. Well, here it is. Here's the cozy, the MRE Cozy. Let me put this back in. I remember that time that I'm telling you about up in the mountains, Grandfather Mountain, when I was trying to eat my MRE, try to keep it, you know, warm. One of the things that I tried to do was to put it inside of my jacket. I opened my jacket halfway and put it inside, try to, you know, keep it warm from getting cold, and it was very difficult. I was about to make a mess inside of my jacket, and I didn't want that, so I, you know, had to suffer the consequence of not having something like this and eat my MRE actually cold, crunchy. And I'm not going to say it was nasty, but it wasn't very pleasant to do. So another thing that this will provide is that if you put your MRE there with the hot water, you can, like this, close while you wait for the 10 minutes, put it inside of your jacket, and this will provide some warmth for you inside of your jacket, and it'll be a very pleasant thing to do. So then when 10 minutes has passed by, open it and eat it. Now, if I am to make this again, and I will make another one, I will make it in such a way that instead of being sealed with duct tape like that and fixed like that, I'm going to make it, first of all, double-sided. And let me give you an example of what I mean double-sided. I will put this material like that, and I'll double-side it like that, and I'll put the shiny part inward and outside, and then make the whole thing. But in this case, what I'm going to do, instead of putting duct tape, I'm going to make it in such a way that I can just fold it like this with Velcro, some Velcro patches in here, and seal it like that, and some Velcro patches in there, and seal it like that, and some Velcro patches in here, and seal it like that, and just have it like that with Velcro patches. And open it, and that way the versatility part of this, the advantage of making it like that is that if I have a smaller pouch, one of the smaller ones packed, it'll reshape to the exact size of the MRE pouch, see? And if it's bigger, the same thing. So I think that when I make the next one, I'm gonna make it like that. And then I will have the reflector part facing outside that will bounce the cold temperature back out, and the reflective also inside, so that it'll reflect the heat from the MRE back to it, keeping it warmer or hotter for a longer time. One more thing that is very advantageous about having this, and that is that this does not represent too much overweight in your backpacking load. This weighs 0.6 ounces, so this is really light. But like I said, when I make it double, it's going to double that size, so it's going to be like 1.2 ounces. I mean, for the kind of comfort that this has got to offer, it's worth it, well worth it to bring that extra 1.2 ounces. Well, I hope you like my presentation, and I hope you take it in consideration. I give 2 thumbs up for it. I already tried it. It works like this. It's going to be better when I make my next prototype of it. Like I said, this is the first time I make a project, a DIY project, test it out, and then make a video about it. And it came out real good. So until my next video, I'll see you guys later.